Research is the best medicine. This popular advertising motto of the pharmaceutical industry is justifiable. But one should add that all successful research depends on the thorough and modern training of the researchers. Only then can research effectively battle disease and improve health. Increase in medical knowledge has developed exponentially over the past century. More has been learned in the past 50 years than in the preceding 500 or even 1,000. And the rate of increase is continuing to grow. The effective transfer of information is a pressing issue because of the increasing numbers of students and the limited availability of space, personnel and funds. Let's follow an ambitious medical student through the centuries on his progress towards becoming a physician. In the 4th century BC, Hippokrates, the father of medicine, was teaching students here in the garden of the small Greek island of Kos. He abandoned the speculative religious way in which medicine had been viewed and developed his own more scientific approach, based on the body humours. 600 years later, in the 2nd century AD, our student might have studied in Rome with Galen, a Greek, who influenced medicine well into the Middle Ages with his anatomical insights gained from the dissection of animal carcasses. In the early Middle Ages, our student could have attended a monastery school. Benedict of Nursia, or Hildegard of Bingen, incorporated caring for the sick into the duties and responsibilities of those serving God. Curing a patient is a blessing, for which one also has to work hard. But our student wouldn't have learned much more than he did from Galen 1,000 years before. Prohibition of the examination of human corpses continued to hamper any real medical advances. The influence of Arabian medicine was considerable. Avicenna, a Persian physician, physicist and philosopher, who lived early in the 11th century, was one of the most famous men of his time. The old medical universities blossomed in the 12th to 14th centuries, their roots coming from both the Greco-Roman and the Arabic Jewish intellectual worlds. This could be seen, for example, at Salerno, the oldest university in southern Italy. In Europe, the Great Plague wreaks havoc. Medical studies are a boring scholastic regurgitation of the old teachings of Hippokrates, Galen and Avicenna. The controversial Paracelsus, Theophrastus Bombastus von Hohenheim, travelled through Europe in the 16th century, teaching an apparently alternative form of medicine. Andreas Vesal was a professor of surgery and anatomy. Thanks to his meticulous examination of corpses, he was able to correct many of Galen's theories, which had been based on his study of animal carcasses. Vesal's book, De Humani Corpus Fabrica, laid the foundations for new, scientifically based theories of medicine. Anatomical dissections and demonstrations are becoming popular spectacles for the masses. In the meantime, printing has been invented, with movable letters making a more rapid production of books possible, and bringing a new dimension into the world of teaching and learning. Blood is produced in the liver and used up by the organs and limbs. This ancient belief was not disputed until 1628, when William Harvey discovered the blood circulation. Here he is demonstrating this on a student. The Renaissance and the Age of Enlightenment brought with them more than just new scientific knowledge. The art of teaching was given new impetus by Hermann Boerhaave, professor of medicine and botany in Leiden. At the start of the 18th century, he introduced bedside teaching, teaching using actual patients. In the 19th century, the operating theatre became the lecture hall, where our student meets a young female colleague. Women were first allowed to study medicine in the middle of the 19th century. It's easier for two to learn together than alone. Wax models, also known as moulage, and then later colour photographs and projection slides, have all given teaching important didactic impetus. Today, the amount of knowledge to be mastered is both larger and more complex. Fortunately, the opportunities for teaching and learning have also radically developed. In interprofessional skill labs, the students learn how to use an X-ray machine. The pictures are evaluated on the monitor, or even with the computer program, making possible three-dimensional viewing. Practice dummies full of electronics allow the student to study pulmonary and cardiac functions and make possible the simulation of diseases in a variety of important organs. In courses, students learn how to prepare histological sections of biopsies and operation material for microscopic examination and pathological diagnosis. There are simply too many books for any one individual to master. It is crucial to specify what should be learnt, and to make this material available anywhere and at any time. The many new possibilities provided by modern information and communication technology can meet these requirements. The magic word is e-learning. E-learning is not simply the presentation of books and journals in Internet. E-learning is a distinct new virtual world of learning, inhabited by students with high motivation and a great sense of responsibility. E-learning produces maximal mobility, interaction, motivation, and flexibility in the best possible didactic surroundings. We shall use DO-IT, Dermatology Online with Interactive Technology, a teaching program for dermatology and venereology to demonstrate just how effective such programs can be. DO-IT is a modular platform which combines systematic with case-based learning. The teaching material is presented in an entertaining and interactive fashion, centered on questions and then answers, with a commentary and with opportunities for further learning. The program starts with an overall view of dermatology, including the more than 120 diseases that are listed in the Swiss Medical School curriculum. Visual orientation is possible, using a cross-section of skin to localize cutaneous structures and their diseases. So now one must learn. The systematic lectures present the most important aspects of each disease, with a short, precise text, with pictures which can be blown up, and with links to large internet data banks with clinical or histological pictures. One can add personal notes in a special window. One moves easily from the lecture platform to training on the case-based platform. Here there are multiple choice questions about the disease, clinical findings, diagnostic approach, and therapy. Each question is accompanied by a commentary, providing feedback to the student. Students are also encouraged to evaluate the teaching quality of the cases. Be careful. One can study a given case as long as one wants, but the test questions at the end can only be answered once. Now it's getting exciting. We students have studied enough and want to test our knowledge. The next game is called Save your skin. One can play against another student to see who has learnt most. That's just like you. You choose topics that you know really well. The server is broken in the hospital, and each student is supposed to run to the records room and retrieve some charts that the faculty member desperately needs for a teaching session. But at every turning, someone is lurking with a question which must be answered, in order that one can proceed further, and it is, as always, very urgent. Unfortunately, we have taken too long, and the teaching session is already over. The evaluation shows our strengths and weaknesses. We can also check to see how our rivals have done. Another challenge awaiting us is the examination puzzle, which requires differential and diagnostic skills. The idea is to pick up pictures and laboratory reports which have fallen out of folders and to put them back into the right place. The statistical analysis provides feedback about the mistakes and the time needed. We have learnt enough today and want to go home. In the streetcar, we can listen to a few things with an iPod, concentrated 5-minute summaries of lectures. What a good way to revise! Our 2 students have now graduated and are practicing physicians. But they must go on learning all their lives, at congresses, from medical journals, and using the familiar supplementary training available on their computers.